Alright, so guys, we are going to discuss case locking. Before we discuss case locking in Pega, let's try to understand a few aspects of how Pega works. So you have your work object. A work object is derived from the work hyphen class, and in your application, this is going to be derived from your organization name. That is our for our case, it's ABC. Then our application name, that's OBS, and then work, and then of course whatever case type you have, right? The case type. In our case, that's loan application. Okay. This is the basically work object is an instance of this class, the loan application class. Now we have been learning about this, right? That every class in Pega could be a concrete or abstract. If it is a concrete, it can have instances. We talked about case type and cases in Pega. Case type is the skeleton of the case, the definition of the case, right? And the case is a runtime instance of that case type. So when we talk about the object, work object, that's essentially an instance of the case type. Okay? It's runtime data of the case type for one particular use case. Okay? So where is that stored? That is stored with the table corresponding to this class, work table. That's where the data is stored. Okay, the table corresponding to the class. I'm going to name it as a work table. Now that's where the work object is residing. But let me create an when I'm creating a loan application case here, it is assigned to me at this point of time. Maybe it will not make much sense if you try to make sense in the first assignment, but let me submit the first page. Okay, false even address detail. I'm just going to create it. Now I did the first assignment, right? I created the case. It is now assigned to this user for the approval. Unfortunately, that's again me, but it is assigned to this user. This L12001. If I launch the portal, the user portal, I'll see this in my assignment, right? In my work list, because we discussed about, right? See this one. It is my work list. We discussed about two things, right? Work list and work basket. Work list is basically list of work assigned to an individual operator, and work basket is basically team's work list. Basically, a queue where work items, work objects can be assigned to be worked upon by a team, and every operator, individual operator having access to that work basket can see those work objects, or basically can work on those cases. All right. So this is where it is assigned to, right? It is assigned to me. Now, when I click open on that, what will happen? And first of all, let's forget about when I click open that, click open that. You know that when it is assigned to my work list, does that mean the entire case is moved to my work list? And what exactly is my work list? Well, the work list is an instance of assign hyphen work list class. And work basket is an instance of assign hyphen work basket. What does that mean? These are different classes. That there should be an entry. Basically, there should be a record for this work list. That's how we are getting it. Okay. Otherwise, we will not get it. So the question here is the work item getting stored in this work list so that I can see it and work on that? Or what exactly happens when we assign a case to a work list or work basket? Does the case itself get moved into that table, the work list or work basket, or is it that the case always remains in the work table and there's a linking between there's an entry in the work list or work basket that points to that case? Understanding this is very important concept. Okay. Well, work list is nothing but an instance of a class, right? So you can access that assign hyphen work list for that matter. And if you click on that, you will see all the instances of this class, all the entries. This is the entry that there are two entry at this point of time. See here for this work object 12001. That's the work object that we were working on, right? There's a fixed correspondence. That's okay. That's something failed. That's fine. But this entry, this is interesting. Cascading approval. It is assigned to um, Mahesh at the rate abc.com, my user. It is assigned to me. As you can see, it's not the work object that has been moved here. An additional entry has been created, and there is a field called reference object key that has the pz-ins key of the case. So when you click on that assignment, when you click on this link, it actually opens the case. Now the case always resides in the work table. It never moves. It doesn't get stored into the work list or work basket temporarily. You do not pass the case. The case always resides in the work object table. It's just that an additional entry is created on the work list or work basket table, and that has a field that is called referenced object key, which stores the pz-ins key of the work object. And when you click it, it actually opens that work object. See, this is the entry. Okay, fixed correspondence. I clicked on the first one. Right. So this is the assignment detail. See, it is an instance obj class, px obj class, work list. It is not the work object. You don't see the work object data here. You only see a link to the work object. See, reference object name is this one. That's the PYID of the case. This is the PZINS name of that case. PZINS key, sorry, name of the assignment. This is the PZINS key of the assignment. See, this is deriving from the assigned work list. It's not the work object that is stored there. All right. Having that understanding cleared out, let's move ahead. So we know that when we create a work object, the assignments get created. There could be multiple assignment on the case at the same time. They all will be stored. The assignments will be stored on the work um, on the case sorry, on the work list or work basket table. But the case will always reside on the work object table. So when you open one of these work objects, when you click on that, it actually opens the work object in read-only mode. Unless you open the assignment, it actually opens the clear assignment. Now, work object is opened in the edit mode. What if someone else tries to access the same work object? Or maybe there might be more than, maybe there's one entry in the work basket for 12001, right? Let's say assignment, there's one assignment, assign one. And there's another assignment in the work basket or in another user's work list, assignment 2. They both try to access the assignment together. What happens? Well, that's where the locking comes into the picture. We need to make sure that there is no data loss. For example, if there is a value A, sorry, property A in the case, and A equals to set to B, A equals to set to 10. First user opens, it updates it to A equals to 20. The another user opens at the same time. They opened both together. A was still set to 10. The first user updated it to 20. The second user updated it to 25. If the first user submits that first and the second user submits that later, the first value will be overridden. So we need to make sure that the first user, whoever basically opens that first, gets the lock. The second user cannot modify the case. That's the default locking. So default locking, what happens? The lock is acquired, lock is granted to the user when they open the case or assignment in perform mode. Perform means read only. Oh, sorry, write. Perform mode. No other user can access the application or case can access the case in edit mode or perform mode. They can do it in the read only mode, they can still see it, but not in the edit mode or the perform mode. Okay, that is called default locking. When I open, by default Pega has default locking on every case. So when I opened this case, I should have a lock. Now lock is available into a table. That's a different table where lock is available, and you can view that all the logs from the dev studio. So go to the dev studio, case management, tools, work admin, all the log that you have acquired and all the log that anybody in the system has acquired. So click on all logs. See, there is one log acquired in the system, and if you click on the number one, it will show you who has acquired log on which work object. So this is the work object. This is the owner. That's the owner means this is basically the requester ID. Sorry. This is the operator. You can see the handle of the case and when it is going to expire. The lock automatically expires too. If I don't do anything here for certain amount of time, it gets expired. The default setting for that is 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, the lock is going to be expired. So when someone tries to access an assignment or case, Pega checks in that table, the locking table, if there is, I think system logs is the class. Yeah, system lock. Yeah, that's the class. Okay, system locks has those. So Pega is going to check in that when you try to open, if someone else has got the lock or not. If there is an entry active lock there, Pega will not let you open the case in the read only write on mode. So let me show you how to do. Okay, let me just reproduce that. So I'm going to open the this one and I'm going to assign the approval to the manager only always. Approval list. What if I approve it? Is it going to another user? No. So I'm going to change it to single label and I'm going to assign it to manager. Don't have any manager. See if there is any user. MGR1 is there. MGR1 at the rate abc.com. I'm going to assign every approval to this one. Okay, let me create a case. Right, this is assigned to MGR1. See, I'm admin, I can also open that, but let me log in with the MGR1. The case ID is 12002. So, localhost MGR2 c.com. Was it MGR2 or MGR1? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Let me log off. Right, so I have this assignment. Now, if I open this, so I should have logged. The MGR1 should have locked. Let's see if the MGR has the lock or not. There isn't any case. What? Let me see from here. Yeah, there is a lock. Yeah, manager one has that lock. But this is the case. If I try to open this case again in the edit mode, go, it tells that this is currently being modified by manager one and may not be edited simultaneously. That's the default locking, guys. Where do you set the locking? On the case, go to the setting tab, right? And you have the locking. Allow one user is the default locking. The default timeout value when the user is not doing anything. So after how much time the lock will auto released? That will be 30 minutes. You can specify any other time. You can specify 5 minutes. After 5 minutes of inactivity, the lock will be broken. Other users can access the application in the edit mode. Okay, that's the default locking. But this is not always good. Sometimes people are just trying to, I mean, for this case, right, I might be just trying to approve or reject just one point of time. Uh, Maybe everyone should have access, and whoever is committing that change first should get lock. So how does that work? That is called optimistic locking. The second locking approach is optimistic locking. The name suggests it's very optimistic in nature that it doesn't give lock to any user. You all can open the case, but as soon as the first user makes the commit, the first user submits the case, rest all user need to refresh the case in order to modify. So it's granting you the lock at the runtime when you are submitting it, when you're submitting the assignment. That's when exactly the user grants the lock to one the user who is doing the first submission, and rest of the user needs to refresh the case who has opened the same case. They need to refresh the case in order to work on that. Let's see that. That's the optimistic locking. I'm going to change here allow multiple user. This is the optimistic locking. Allows the first user to submit the case. All other users who are working on the case are notified and must review the changes before they can submit their own update. They will have to review the change made by the first user. So they will have to refresh the case so that the changes made by the first user is visible to them. So now I've changed it to multiple user. That's the optimistic locking. Let's create a case. So I'm going to submit this. It's assigned to manager 1. Let's open this. This is 12003 home 12003. So I have opened it. Now this is edit mode. I have opened it. The same case I'm trying to open from the admin too. See, both can you open this. Now if I submit from here, the manager, this user has to refresh. This case was updated by manager this at this time. Refresh the screen to update the values. Of course, this assignment is gone as well. The assignment was completed by the user, but that's how it works. The optimistic locking. We grant the user access at the we grant the user lock at the time of submission, and rest of the users are not required to update. They're required to update their case, refresh the case in order to gain access to that case in order to modify it. It could be the same assignment, could be multiple assignment for different purpose. The work object is going to be the same. Like I said, the work object is going to remain in the same table. The assignments are going to be stored in a different table. They are just providing the linking to the work object, and when you open the assignment to perform it, you open the work object on your clipboard in the edit mode. So we need to have that control that who's we need to make sure that the changes of any of the users are not overridden by the changes of other users, and people are modifying the work object in a sequential order. That's why we have the locking mechanism in Pega, and this is pretty much basically how we implement the locking. So default locking, lock is granted to the user as soon as they basically update, as soon as they open the case in the edit mode. And in the optimistic locking, when the lock is not granted to any user, they all can open the case in the edit mode as soon as the first person submits. The lock is granted to the first user who submits the case. Rest of the users accessing the case in edit mode needs to refresh the case. That's the optimistic locking, and that's what concludes the locking in Pega.